Welcome to datascience.show, the podcast where data science meets executive leadership. We talk with top AI and analytics thought leaders about turning data into real business impact. If you're a C-level leader or data expert shaping the future, you're in the right place.
I'm your host, Mirko. We explore how data science and AI drive real business impact, straight from the leaders making it happen. Today, how to stop treating data handoffs like guesswork and start treating data as a measurable service. Why this matters? Unreliable data costs time, trust, and millions in misguided decisions. Welcome to datascience.show, thought leaders in data science for C-level and experts. In this episode, I walk you through a practical executive playbook for data contracts and SLO-driven data products. Expect concrete steps you can act on in the next 90 days, a minimal contract template you can adapt, and the metrics that prove impact.
Quick framing. Most organizations know what models they want to build, but they don't have predictable inputs. That unpredictability shows up as late projects, broken dashboards, model degradation, and debates that never end. Treating data like a product, with clear interfaces, service levels, and observable health, fixes that. Today, I'm speaking as both host and practitioner, pulling from enterprise deployments I've led and advised.
First, a bit of background on why the data contract idea exists. For years, engineers and analysts have operated in an implicit contract. Producers publish tables or feeds, consumers build downstream logic. The problem is that most of those contracts are tacit and fragile. A schema change, a missing partition, or a swapped business rule cascades into dozens of downstream failures. In enterprises, this touches many roles: data engineers, analytics teams, product managers, legal and compliance, and of course, executives. The origin of the data contract movement comes from three needs: predictable interfaces, measurable reliability, and clearer decision rights. When those three exist, data becomes a repeatable service rather than a series of one-off integrations.
Let's move into the core. What is a data contract, and what does an SLO-driven data product look like? At its simplest, a data contract is an explicit agreement between data producers and consumers that covers three axes: interface, quality expectations, and observability. The interface defines schema, semantics, and access patterns. Quality expectations are the SLOs: availability, freshness, completeness, accuracy thresholds. Observability defines the telemetry and runbooks that make SLOs actionable.
A data product is the operationalization of that contract. It's discovered in a catalog, served through well-defined endpoints or tables, monitored by SLO dashboards, and backed by runbooks and ownership. Producers own the product. Consumers rely on the SLOs. Executives fund and prioritize high-value contracts. That distinction is critical. Ownership is about accountability, not just who writes the code.
Translating business KPIs into data SLOs is where the work gets strategic. Start with one business KPI you care about, say conversion rate accuracy for financial reporting, or credit decision latency for lending. Ask, what data inputs drive that KPI? For each input, define an SLO that maps to business risk. Example, if a model requires user activity within the last 24 hours to be accurate, define freshness SLO equals 99% of records ingested within 24 hours of event time. Tie violation impact to business cost. Delayed segmentation may cost X in missed revenue. Here's a minimal copy-paste contract template I recommend. Keep it intentionally small. 1. Contract name and owner. 2. Consumers and primary business KPI. 3. Interface. Schema snapshot, required fields, types, and examples. 4. SLOs. Freshness, completeness, null ratios, cardinality bounds, and allowed variance. 5. Observability. Metrics to emit, alert thresholds, and dashboard link. 6. Runbook. Responsible on-call, escalation, and expected MTTR. 7. Change policy. Notification windows and migration paths. That's it. Minimal but enforceable. Trade-offs are inevitable. Strict contracts reduce downstream surprises but can slow producers. Flexible contracts increase agility but raise risk for consumers. The executive decision is about risk tolerance. For safety or revenue-critical flows, bias to strictness. For exploratory analytics, allow flexibility with clear labeling. Use contract tiers: critical, supported, experimental. That lets you apply automation and governance proportional to business impact.
On enforcement and tooling, don't over-index on top-tier tooling out of the gate. Start with policy as code checks in CI for schema and nulls, lightweight observability that emits the SLO metrics, and automated alerts wired into Slack or PagerDuty. Invest in a discoverability catalog so consumers can find contract metadata and SLO status. Over time, add automated rollback and canary releases for data pipelines where appropriate.
A key technical pattern is lineage and causal tracing. When an SLO flaps, consumers need to know which upstream change caused it. Instrument lineage top to bottom, attach SLOs to nodes, and capture deployment metadata. This makes incident triage linear instead of exponential. Now, let's switch to leadership and impact. Executives need to do 3 concrete things: align decision rights, fund contracts, and measure outcomes. Aligning decision rights means making producers accountable for meeting SLOs and making consumers accountable for respecting contract boundaries. Put this in RACI and performance reviews. Funding means allocating runway for SLO observability and on-call capacity. Measurement means tracking downstream metrics, onboarding time for new consumers, incident count and MTTR, and business KPIs tied to data reliability.
How do you tie SLO improvements to ROI? Choose measurable proxies: reduction in model retraining due to bad inputs, faster onboarding of analytics teams measured in days, and reduction in severe incidents that cause revenue loss. For example, if fixing a data SLO reduces average onboarding from 10 days to 3 days for a sales analytics team, calculate the productivity gain and convert that to revenue impact or cost savings. That's the language the board understands.
Governance and negotiation are often the hardest part. My recommendation: start with a pilot in a high-value domain where stakeholders already see pain. Use that pilot to demonstrate metrics, then codify negotiation playbooks, default SLA terms, change windows, and fast path approvals for emergency changes. Use legal only when contracts cross regulatory boundaries. Don't make legal the gating factor for routine operational agreements.
Looking forward, as you scale data products, emerging risks include SLO explosion, brittle dependency graphs, and incentive drift, where teams optimize for their own SLAs at the expense of the whole. Mitigations are simple in concept. Consolidate SLOs to the critical subset that maps to business outcomes, invest in automated dependency management, and periodically refresh incentives so they reward system-level reliability, not local optimizations. Over the next 12 to 24 months, leaders should prioritize 3 moves. Instrument the most critical pipelines for observability, standardize a minimal contract template and run a pilot, and embed contract compliance into budgeting and roadmaps. These are leadership actions more than engineering projects.
Before we close, 2 actionable steps you can take in the next 90 days. Step 1. Pick a high-value consumer-producer pair, for example, a pricing model or a revenue report, and create a minimal contract using the template I described. Publish it in your catalog and agree on one SLO that maps to the business KPI. Step 2. Instrument the pipeline to emit that SLO metric and put a simple dashboard and alert in place. Track onboarding time and incidents before and after to measure impact.
A quick checklist to carry with you: contract name and owner, 1 business KPI, interface snapshot, 1 or 2 SLOs, observability link, runbook with MTTR targets, and a change policy. Keep it minimal, iterate fast, and learn from incidents.
Final reflection: organizations that treat data as a measurable service stop guessing and start delivering predictable business outcomes. That means clarity over complexity and strategy before technology. That's the difference between models and value.
If you found this episode valuable, subscribe and share it with your network. And let's connect on LinkedIn. I'm Mirko Peters.
We'll be back with more conversations on how data science and AI create real business impact. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to datascience.show. If you found value in this episode, subscribe, share it with your network, and join us next time as we explore how data science drives smarter decisions and better business outcomes.